Hello everybody, welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, bringing a brand new review. And today I'm going to be reviewing Argylle, which is now out in cinemas in the UK. It's out tomorrow in America. And I'm going to give some spoiler-free thoughts on the film, just in case you didn't see Discussing Films tweet that went viral about the big twist of this. Yes, I'm starting with that. Of course I'm starting with that. But, as always, I do want to hear from people that have seen the film, that are looking forward to seeing this film. Of course, seeing a Matthew Vaughn film, one of my favourite directors, so I've been very excited to a point to see this. I'll be getting into that very briefly. But, as always, do comment your thoughts. Let me know if you enjoyed the film, if you didn't like the film. Maybe you're going to disagree with what I say in this review. Maybe you're going to agree with what I say. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm not sure how it's going to pan out. I've just got back from watching it today. I have some strong thoughts on it. I'm going to try and come across as good as I can, and I'm also going to quickly plug our social medias. We announce our videos, obviously, on our Letterboxd, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, linktree.com/cinemasavvy. We've got a TeePublic merch store as well. But aside from butchering the intro, this is really starting somewhere. Maybe this matches the film I've just seen. Who knows? Because I don't like bashing films. I'm going to say that first and foremost. This film was one I was looking forward to when it was announced. It was another Matthew Vaughn spy film. It was going to be done with Apple. It had a budget of $200 million. The cast start coming together. Henry Cavill, Bryce Dallas Howard, John Cena, Bryan Cranston. The names kept popping up. And then about a year ago, they released the first photo, and you could see Henry Cavill's hair. And at that point, I knew, okay, maybe my dream of him being Bond isn't dead. Maybe they've gone for such a wild look. We've still got a chance of getting him as Bond. But the film, we'll get into that. Then, of course, the story starts to come out. It was going to be about the author Ella Conway, played by Bryce Dallas Howard. And it would be the story in which that she has written this fictional spy, and she's going to be brought into the real life side of it. Very familiar to The Lost City. A very underrated film from, I think, last year or 2022. No, God, it's been a quick while. But a film I loved, and there's some similarities in the trailers, and then the trailer for this came out, and I'll be honest, it sort of crippled what I was looking forward to from the announcement. I mentioned I'm a big fan of Matthew Vaughn. This is his 8th film as a director. I have actually enjoyed, I'll say I've enjoyed the first 7, 6 a lot more than a few others, so I'm always going to go and see it, because as a director I'm very attached to, and yeah, sorry, I almost said something I shouldn't about breaking NDA. But this is one of those where I didn't go to the press screening. I saw there's a red carpet. I kept seeing more and more trailers. The marketing's got bigger and bigger. And I was like, you know what? It's going to be February. It's sort of Oscar season. It's going to be nice to have a big blockbuster. A $200 million film, by the way. $200 million film coming out in February for us to see. Apple, I have spoke incredible stuff about them the last year or so on the channel. I think they're one of the best streaming services. They go for quality, not quantity. I mentioned Matthew Vaughn already. I've gone through some of the cast names. I'm on board with this film. But the trailers had me worried. And I was like, okay, we can have bad trailers and maybe the film will change what I think this could be, what it has the potential to be. Then yesterday, obviously, the old tweets were going around about what the film's going to be about. So I had, I guess, the marketing plot point spoiled. I wasn't too bothered by the spoiler. So I'm going to sort of start talking about the film now. And it's really tricky to talk about, because there's, obviously, if you're aware of the story, you're aware that, you know, the whole Henry Cavill, John Cena thing is the fictional book characters being visualised. So it kicks off with them with abysmal dialogue, abysmal writing, over-the-top action sequences, and I don't mind that, because I could see in the first few moments, okay, this is the fictional book in which these are going to be set in. And we then discover it's like a book series, a very successful book series, so good it could be done in real life. Is it a real like the J.K. Rowling, the old theory that J.K. Rowling was actually a witch and she was, oh god, I forgot her name, the Daily Prophet writer, and she's escaped the Wizarding. All that crap. They took that theory and turned it into a film. That's the summary there. And then you realise that, oh, that wasn't meant to be bad dialogue. I thought we were going to get this terrible author who has somehow had a successful series, and we're going to see all this come to life. It wasn't that. It was a very different film. And it's tricky because when I say I'm rooting for a film, I love this cast. I mentioned Bryan Cranston, Bryce Dallas Howard, Henry Cavill, Sam Rockwell. I'm missing some others that's going to pop up in my head, and I don't know who was announced and who wasn't announced. What's to spoil it? Ariana DeBose. There's so many character posters. There's so many actors appearing in it. I was so excited for this. John Cena, of course. And I just wanted it to be good, and it was so bad. It was 2 hours and 20 minutes. I saw it advertised at 2 hours and 20 minutes. I thought that was 2 hours 20 minutes including adverts. So I've just come out of this essentially almost 3 hours at the cinema for this film today, and I said I don't like to bash films. I don't think it's fair to do so. I don't think anyone ever goes out with the intention of making a terrible film. Although I will say Death Proof is the concept of we want to make a grindhouse film. Different conversation, different review. But this one, I don't even want to say I'm disappointed because I didn't think the trailer looked very good. I just thought this has the potential to blow me away. This has the potential to be something very different to what I thought it would be. Again, I like the director. I'm a fan of the director. I saw they did a book that's been written by TBC. Rumours it's Taylor Swift, but she seems to be rumoured for everything these days, so probably not. And at the same time, I'm trying to piece together some thoughts of watching it because early on in the film, we get the first action sequence. I'm like, wow, this is great. This has got really good editing. We're getting a blend of different actors appearing in like differing shots that are being cut. Have they rehearsed the same fight sequence twice? A bit like in Last Night in Soho, where you've got the amazing dance choreography where they'd switch the actresses around almost shot by shot. And we were getting something similar. And then it carries on and on and on and on. And then suddenly it loses its magic by not an elongated fight sequence, but repetitive editing choices, repetitive story sequences that leads to the most obvious twist. When I say the most obvious twist, yes, it was spoiled for me. You'll get it in the opening scene. The opening scene, it spells out the film for you. And that's what I was gutted by. I feel like this film has been completely marketed wrong. And at the same time, it's been marketed wrong. I also can't comprehend that Matthew Vaughn's directed this because it feels like somebody's made a terrible Matthew Vaughn film. I know the trailers are going for the OTT, the twisted mind. There's been nothing twisted about his films. Yes, Kingsman's got some insanely violent stuff. This is a 12A. There is no blood. There is nothing like the Colin Firth sequences. This film is very tame. But what it has, and this is what I can't escape with my mind, this is where it becomes maybe a rant about the modern blockbuster cycle again. This is a $200 million film that looks crap. And I never say that in reviews. We thought The Flash would look terrible because we've known all the behind the scenes. We know DC's track record the last few years. We know about all the aggro, shooting in COVID, all that sort of stuff. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, $300 million film. Mission Impossible, $300 million film. Both of them were box office bombs, different levels of bomb, I guess. But that's escalating budgets through COVID. At the same time, you can see some sequences where the budget's going and where it isn't. Neither of them look like $300 million films at the same time. But this $200 million film, I think is inexcusable. And I've reached this point, I always advocate, let's go to the cinema, let's go to this, go see it at the big screen, all that sort of stuff. I'm starting to hit the point now, I'm at a caveat of, if you have a $200 million film, it should look like a $200 million film. No excuses, under the sun, I don't care. Yes, VFX artists need to unionise, we're in the process of having that happen. Yes, a lot of the time, terrible CGI is not the artist's fault. It is normally a production standpoint coming onto them. But with this film in particular, I am sat saying Apple's got a great track record. I think Matthew Vaughn has a great track record. I know that not everyone's a big fan of The King's Man, because they had to be smart at the third title. Yes, the terrible post-credit scene of Hitler is still ridiculous. But there's some really good... And watching Argylle was making me really respect The King's Man a bit. You had some great fight sequences. You had some great shooting, plot twists, which this has, like Kick-Ass, like many of his other films have these big twists. Watching this was a sort of epiphany of how much I love Matthew Vaughn as director, so how on earth he ended up making this. And I can't quite bring the words together. Because I mentioned you get one great action sequence towards the beginning. That's the best action sequence. By the end of the film, we have one of the worst CGI action set pieces I've ever seen. And there's two of them in 5 minutes. One of them involves oil, another one involves lots of coloured smoke grenades. And some people might enjoy this, and I keep seeing the buzzwords online that the general audience is going to love it. They're not going to go and see it. They're not. This is going to be a humongous bomb. The marketing campaign has gone all in on Dua Lipa. I think that's how it's pronounced, apologies. And she's in it for like 5 minutes, but she is over the entirety of the marketing campaign. So I thought, she's going to have this humongous role. And it's not. It's a glorified cameo. And I'm just sort of sat there saying, okay, you want to bring in that audience, but they're the sort of people that are going to kick off. Be like Amsterdam, as terrible as that was, Taylor Swift's in it. They didn't put her over the trailers. She was in and out in 2 minutes. And I'm just in this weird lull with this film where, yes, I'm slagging it off. I'm being critical. I just don't think it's acceptable. And it feels like the same kind of film I've seen so many times. And I think what's disappointing is the quality of everybody involved. The cast members, the director, every single person is capable of so much more. And I'll actually sort of follow it through. I don't think there are bad performances. I think it's the source material and the direction that's really let this film down. The highlight is probably Bryan Cranston, if I'm being honest. There's some really cool moments with him. We have a sort of Heisenberg duality of family man for a very brief minute, and I was like, oh, Breaking Bad, great. It's not intentional, but that was in my head, it was. And John Cena. I love seeing John Cena on the big screen. I absolutely love his transition to Hollywood. And I was excited to see him with Henry Cavill, and another one where a lot of their sequences were in the trailers, understandable given the story, but at the same time I just feel that why didn't we get a lot more of Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell in the trailers, in the marketing? Yes, I appreciate they're not as bankable stars per se as the others, but at the same time it felt like it was their film, and they have great chemistry with one another. I really enjoy them on screen with each other. There's some stuff that really works between them, but it's just such a predictable story that's been done to death. And then it just kind of made me think that Matthew Vaughn's directed 4 spy films in a row. Okay, 3 of them are the same franchise. We're hearing talk of Kingsman 3 rolling around again. I know in an alternate world we had Matthew Vaughn Star Wars. If people can remember, there's rumours pre-Force Awakens. I would still love to see him do Star Wars one day. He would have been one of my picks, especially contextually in 2013, 14. But I'm just so disappointed by this film. But it's weird to be disappointed by something I wasn't particularly excited for. I just think the potential on screen is wasted. I mentioned the poor visuals. Some actors don't really appear. And when I mention it's predictable, it's not the fun predictable. Like, I've seen this 100 times. I can roll with it if it's entertaining. This is we've got the whole film done on the opening few words. And they're the worst ones. And a 2-hour, 20-minute runtime. Some of the set pieces just don't stop. They just continue going on. And they're not entertaining. They're not thrilling. I don't care. They don't make sense. You get bad visuals on them as well. If people have seen it, I'm talking the oil sequence. Somewhere, someone's going to find it funny. But guess what? There were 2 people in my screening on the opening night. I am one of the 2. And, okay, it's a Thursday. It's not the weekend yet. But I struggle to see this being a big hit. I really do. I don't think this makes its money back. And if I'm honest, I think this is the kind of film I expect to see on Netflix's homepage saying, this just broke our new record of the most viewed Netflix viewings that we won't release to the public eye in the next 2 weeks. It reeks of Red Notice, but on Apple. And it's such a shame, because I think everyone's capable of so much more. Yes, it's a rant at this point. It's not really a review. Am I just going to end it quickly to get rid of it? Probably. Don't watch this film at the cinema. I wouldn't even pay an Apple subscription to watch this. I will never need to see this film again in my life. It's a shame, because I'm a big Matthew Vaughn fan. The talent there. I think if you have a couple of rewrites, you bring on board an editor to shorten it. I think this could be a great 1 hour, 50-minute film. There's enough in there to do something with it. But then I mentioned The Lost City of Oz, I think, basically the Daniel Radcliffe one from a year or 2 ago. I keep forgetting the titles, or I'm getting them mixed up. That's how you do a film like this. That was phenomenal. And I'd love to see that again. And I think it's actually on Netflix's top 10 after I berate them after seeing it yesterday. But it's just one of those where the content's been done better recently. Completely different world in the last couple of years. And unfortunately, this film has just lost itself. I'm not going to get into the Henry Cavill Bond stuff. I think, again, Cavill's fine from what we get of him in this. But you put him all over the marketing. You put him everywhere. People are going to expect him to be in it more. Yeah, a missed opportunity for me, a gutted one. I've been on a really good run of films recently. I did a review for The Iron Claw, which I loved. We're going to be doing our What We Watch show on Saturday or tomorrow when this goes up. So I've been talking about a few of the films. I've seen a few TV shows. It's been a really good month, if I'm being really honest, for stuff like this. It's just kickstart in February. This isn't what you want. Yes, it's Oscar season, so I can quickly wipe this away. I know Past Lives is getting a UK Netflix release in the next 2 weeks. A lot of things to look forward to. American Fiction, I'd love to review it for the channel. For some reason, all the cinemas near me aren't showing it, and it releases this Friday in the UK. So we've got a couple more Oscar reviews to do, a couple of films I need to catch up with myself, and we'll be trying to get some reviews out for them. I still need to see Oliver Strangers. Looking back, I'm going to end up regretting watching this over that. I hope it's in cinemas for a while. Dune's getting its re-release next week over here as well. So there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. There's a lot of films happening. I mentioned Dune Part 1's release. We're now 1 month to the day away from Dune Part 2. Thank God. We're going to be doing some build-up to that. There's going to be some really interesting stuff. There is something organised that is confirmed. I'm not going to tempt fate and say what that is yet, but we have a potential interview on the channel, which I'm very, very, very excited about to talk about. But yes, unfortunately, heading back to Argylle, no. not one to watch. Don't waste your time. There's a lot on at the cinema that's a lot better that you can watch. And hey, if you love it, great. You've had a good time. Unfortunately, I can't even say this is a switch your head off and it's exciting. I just didn't get any of that. I just want to go back and watch some good Matthew Vaughn films, and maybe that's going to be me for a few days. Go rewatch the other two Kingsman films. So that's going to do it for this review / rant. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.